Sales Training Coordinator. Today's webinar is hosted by Gamfin and Kaplas through our partnership with MasterCard Foundation to strengthening Ghana's non-bank financial sector. The program is called FIRST Plus, which stands for Financial Institution Resilience and Strengthening. Now, FIRST Plus addresses common challenges across the industry through webinars like this, workshops, and training seasons. Kaplas also provide one-to-one technical assistance to financial institutions that are committed to scaling MSME finance. Now, get to know that at the end of the webinar, we will provide contact information if you would like to learn more. Now, about the presenter. Today's presenter is Terry Lennon. He is an experienced international training consultant in marketing, sales, leadership, change management, customer service, and strategy for financial service sectors. He has worked extensively in East Africa, particularly in Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda over the last 9 years, and has trained over 3,000 personnel. Terry has a strong focus on understanding the marketing mix, product, that is product, price, place, and promotion, segmentation, negotiation skill, and meeting the strategic goals of financial institutions. He has significant experience in training personnel in marketing communications to increase influence potential and display a professional image to both internal and external customers. Note that throughout the webinar, we are encouraged to submit questions for Terry in the chat box. We will address as many as possible at the end of the webinar. And then note that this webinar is being recorded. After that, we send you a copy of the presentation and a link to the recording afterwards. Mr. Terry Lennon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nathaniel, and good morning, everybody. I hope you can see me and hear me loud and clear. So unfortunately, I cannot see you, but I hope your day is going good so far. What Nathaniel should have told you also is that I've recently been in Ghana and have been working with some of the banks there, and I'm returning again next Monday. So looking forward to my return visit there. So we have a very good webinar for you now for this morning. And it's on developing a micro and SME focused sales and marketing plan to improve performance. So that's what we're trying to do, to help you to improve the performance of your institution or your branch or your area that you're working in. So the webinar objectives. Well, let's just start off by saying, without a plan, you really are planning to fail. So without a plan, you're planning to fail. So it really, really is important to put a plan in place for your branch, for your bank, for your institution. So the webinar will help you develop practical, structured, and detailed sales and marketing plans to meet your individual sales goals and support the organization in achieving its overall business plans. And as Nathaniel said, these slides are available for you to download, and the webinar is being recorded. So I would really recommend that you download these slides and look at it in the comfort of your own office or home or whatever over the next days or weeks to help you preparing your own sales and marketing plan. So the objectives, what we're going to do this morning, we're going to talk about identifying your target market. We're going to look at the importance of market research and how to undertake a good SWOT analysis. And SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in your bank or indeed in your branch. We look at developing your marketing objectives, and we will talk about developing sales and marketing strategies to ensure that you meet your marketing objectives. And then finally, we'll tie it all up at the end by looking at the marketing budget and then looking at a cost benefit analysis of your marketing objectives. So why should we plan? Why should we plan? And it reminds me of a saying that to achieve goals you've never achieved before, you need to start doing things that you've never done before. Okay, so let's just look at that again. To achieve goals you've never achieved before, you need to start doing things that you've never done before. So it really is important to take some time out and to look at how are we going to achieve our goals? How are we going to grow in an environment like you have in Ghana that is increasingly competitive and more competitors are coming into the market? And this is a lovely kickoff phrase that I often use, and it's by a lady called Grace Hopper. And she is or was an American scientist and innovator. And what she said was, the most dangerous phrase in the language is, we've always done it this way. And particularly when we're looking at sales and marketing, we want to look at different ways of doing things. So to hold on what you're doing really well, and then to build on that. So the most dangerous phrase in the language is, we've always done it this way. And particularly when we're looking at sales and marketing, we say, is there a better way? Is there another way of doing it? Because everyone else is growing just as fast as we are, and everyone else in the market has high objectives as well. So I wanted to start off by looking at a famous phrase by Philip Kotler, who is a marketing author and consultant. And anyone who studies marketing will be familiar with him. And what he says is the mantra of marketing. So he says the mantra of marketing is CC, DV, TP. So the mantra of marketing is CC, DV, TP. And that is to create, to communicate, to deliver value to a target market, and because you're a bank or financial institution, at a profit. So it's about creating, so it's developing the products and the services that you have. It's about communicating those products or services to customers or prospects. And then most importantly, it's about delivering on those products and services that you have and delivering value. So value to your customers, something that helps them, because marketing is all about helping people. And to a target market. So who is your target market? And then at a profit. So CC, DV, TP. And there's a model called the Plan, Do, Check, Act model, which is sometimes called the PDCA. And the first thing that has to be done when we're trying to look at a sales and marketing is to plan, get something down on paper. So get it from your ideas, from your head down onto a piece of paper, down onto a laptop, a PC or whatever, but commit it to paper or to a laptop. So you plan and then you take action. So you do something and then you check and see how well did that do? What worked well for me? And maybe what didn't work as well for me? And then to act on that learning and then to go back and revise your plan and to go again and again. So the Plan, Do, Check, Act model is iterative. So it means you do it again and again and again. And it's all designed to help you to take action, because taking action is really what sales and marketing is all about. It's about trying things, doing things, measuring how they have gone and then to make adjustments if necessary to make sure that you meet your marketing objectives. So the first thing to do when you're looking at doing your sales and marketing plan is to identify your target market. So that should be the first thing that you need to do. Identify your target market. And it could be maybe you're going after the female market in your area. You're going after the youth market. You might be going after the mining sector. You might be going after the micro SME market, etc., etc., etc. So you have to identify which market are you particularly going to go after. Now, many people say, well, I'm going for everyone in the market. And that is okay. If anyone wants to come to your bank or your branch and open an account, that's good. But who are you particularly going to go after? And how are you set up to go after this particular market? So when you decide which market you're going to go after, the question is, why have you decided to target this market? So have you got a competitive advantage over other financial institutions? Is that the reason that you are going after that particular market? And it doesn't mean just one market. It could be a number of markets. So it could be the female market around your branch. It could be the micro and SME markets around your branch. So, but the question still remains, why have you decided to target those markets? So have you got a competitive advantage? Have you got a strategic reason to enter the market? Maybe head office has said this is, or has decided this is a particular market that we want to gain market share. Or is it a defensive strategy because your core customer base maybe is being targeted by competitors and you're saying we have to really go after this particular market? So that's the first element in making a marketing plan. Decide who you're going to target and why. What's the reason? What is your competitive advantage? Have you a competitive advantage in this market? Okay. So that's number one. The second thing you have to do when you're developing a sales and marketing plan is to undertake market research. And it can be quantitative or it can be qualitative research into your chosen market. For example, the micro or the SME market. So you do some research into that market. And many people often say, well, how critical is market research? Do I really have to do it? And the answer is a big yes, you have to do it. Because without it, you've no foundation on which to build your marketing strategy or your marketing plan. So market research is the process of learning as much as possible about your target market, about your own performance, about your competitors, and indeed about your customers and your prospects. And that's essential to successful marketing and driving the business. So without market research, you have nothing to base your reason as to why you're going into this particular market. So without it, you have no foundation on which to build your marketing strategy or your marketing plan, because you are just guessing as to the size of the market or what your customers think or what your competitors are doing. So there's two types of research. There's quantitative research and there's qualitative research. So let's look at the first one, which is quantitative research. So that's research that poses identical questions to selected customers. So quantitative research poses identical or the same questions to selected customers. And the customer must answer either yes or no. So that's all. You're not looking for opinions, just yes or no. And for example, your question could be in a branch. You ask customers, did you get good service in this branch today? And the answer is either yes or no. And the customer ticks one or the other. Or maybe, did our staff explain our products to you? And the answer again is either yes or no. Or it could be, would you recommend us to a family member or friend? And the answer is yes or no. And depending on the answer that you get when you ask a range of customers, you then have information in which to take action. So no customer comments are required in this type of research. It is purely yes, no. So you're asking the same question to as many customers or prospects as you can. And the more people you ask, the more likely the research is to be factual and to help you in your decision making. So in this type of research, clearly defined questions results in charts and tables and allows for statistical analysis because you're looking at numbers. So let's say the first question there, did you get good service in this branch today? Let's say 80% of people said yes, and 20% of people said no. Okay, so now you have a good indication of the level of service that you're giving in your branch. But let us say 40% said yes, they got good service, and 60% said they had received bad service. Again, that tells you that there's something wrong with the service that you're giving in your branch, and it allows you the opportunity to make changes to what you are doing in your branch. So the second type of research is qualitative market research. And this is where you talk to an either individual or maybe group interviews, and you ask customers how they feel about a product or service. So how they feel. So you're looking at their emotional views. So customers are asked to give their views. For example, why do you like banking with us? So this is not a yes or a no. You're asking them, why do you like banking with us? Or maybe, what do you think of the service we offer in this branch? So you're trying to get the customer to give you their opinions. Or another example is, what could we do to make you give us all of your banking business? So again, you're trying to get the customer to open up and to talk freely to you. And in this type of research, open questions are used, but you have to be very careful not to influence the answers. Okay, so you're asking open questions, and then you really just keep quiet and let the customer answer. And often it is advisable to use an external facilitator to undertake this type of research. Because if I am in a branch and I'm asking some customers, maybe they might not give me a true answer because maybe they don't want to hurt my feelings or whatever. So that's why it is often better to use an external facilitator to ask customers those questions, so you don't influence the type of answer that a customer might give. So when we're looking at market research, we're looking at the market needs. We're looking at your sales performance and the sales performance of the market. We're looking at customers, both your customers and competitor customers, and we're looking at competitors. So the competitors that are most prominent in your area. And we look at two types of research. First one is external, and we look at internal now in a minute. So when we're looking at research on the external side of it, you will look at industry and business sector development. So what are the industries in your area, in your locality? Are there any niche markets or smaller markets that are now starting to come on board and are growing? You will look at competitors' sales cultures. So how do they sell their products? Are they aggressive? Are they passive or whatever? You will look at the distribution channels of other competitors. Are they just using branches, or are they doing more and more online or mobile to try and get customers. You will look at competitor products and the benefits of those products to customers. You look at their characteristics and their price. And many people, when they're looking at competitor products, they just look at price. But you have to look at the characteristics and the product benefits as well. And you will also look at the competitor activities. So what are they doing in your area, around your area? What are the things that they are doing? Have they got mass market appeal? Or is it just differentiation? Are they going after smaller niche markets or maybe some segments? So that's a whole range of things looking at external market research. But you also need to do some internal research. And this is looking at the customers in your own bank or in your own branch. So you look at market share. What market share have you got of a particular sector or segment? And what's the future direction that you want to go in terms of segmentation? Do you want to have a segmentation policy in your branch to show that you're going after particular sectors? What's your current sales strategy? Or indeed, do you have a sales strategy? So how do you go about selling your products, about getting more deposits? Have you got a strategy, or do you just go out and hope that people will do business with you? What's your sales culture? And what are the targets? Are they challenging targets, or are they easy or soft targets? You look at your product portfolio and see how each of your products are performing. Are some products performing better than others? And then try and understand why. What's the reason behind that? And then look at new products and see, are they fitting in with existing products? And are there any products that maybe need to be amended or adjusted? And then you obviously have to look at understanding your own customers, their needs and their wants. So do you understand your own customers and what they are looking for from you? Because only by understanding your customers can you hope to meet their needs. So market research and trying to get data can be a challenge. And often people say to me, we don't know how to get the data or where to get the data. So my advice to you is obtain the data from wherever it is available. So for example, you look at maybe government agencies around your area, maybe local chambers of commerce, or maybe just local market intelligence that you have or your colleagues have, or local publications. And for example, let's say you're doing external market research, let's say quantitative research into your chosen target market. And let's say it's the micro and SME. You want to identify how many of them are in your area. You want to find out how much, so what is their economic value? And you want to try and put numbers on the number of traders in your area and how much value in terms of economic value or CDs are they developing or bringing to your area. And it's okay to assume. So put numbers on your assumptions, but always detail your assumptions. So you could say, this is my assumption as of today's date. And then if you have to change your assumption later on, that's okay. And you'll put the new date, but just always record your assumptions. Here's what I'm assuming for my market. So you have to put numbers on your assumptions. So it's not good enough to say there's lots of farmers in my area, or there's lots of traders in my area. So for example, let's look at traders, the number of traders in the area surrounding your branch. And if you don't have any information, my advice to you is start off by taking a walking tour around your locality and actually count them. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and you go up one side of your branch one day, you go up another side of your branch another day, and you count them. So you actually physically count them 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's say in the area surrounding your branch, you say there's 75 traders. That's a good start to your market research analysis, because now you have a number. And you can say on this date, I surveyed all the areas, and you put down on paper what areas you surveyed, and you come up with there's 75 traders in your area. And then maybe talk with a number of the traders that currently do business with your bank and ask them to estimate their average sales, say in 1 week. And let's say it's 5,000 CDs, or it could be 1,000 CDs or 10,000 CDs. It doesn't make any difference. Just talk to the traders that maybe are doing business with you or that will give you the information. And try and get the average sales then per week. So the economic value for traders in your area then is 75 traders by day. Their average sales is 5,000 in a week. So that gives you the order of 375,000 CDs in 1 week. And now you can start to put numbers on it. So the annual economic value is 1 week multiplied by 52, and you have 19.5 million CDs. So it's fairly rough, but it's an estimate. And you are the professional in your area. And now you have a figure on the traders in your area. Their economic value is 19.5 million CDs in a year, and there's about 75 of them. And you might do the same then for if you're going after farmers, or if you're going after the youth market. You just do how many, you put assumptions on them. You see what's their average income in a week. You average it out then to a year, and now you are starting to put numbers against your market research. And that's a really, really good start for you in developing your plan. So the third key point, or the third element of a sales and marketing plan, is to develop or undertake a SWOT analysis. So that's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And you do this at bank level, at institution level, and you also do it at branch level. So you're looking at the S. The S stands for strengths. What are the strengths of our organization? And if you're doing it at organization or head office level, you say, what are the strengths of our institution? But you can also do it at branch level. What are the strengths of our branch? And then the W is for weaknesses. What are the weaknesses for our organization, our institution, or our branch? And the strengths and weaknesses are internal. Okay, so what's the strengths of our branch? What are the weaknesses of our branch? The next element is O, which is the opportunities. What opportunities exist in our external environment? So you're looking at the external. What are the opportunities that are open to us? And then the last one is T. What are the threats to the organization that exist in our external environment? So what are the threats to our branch that are occurring in our environment? So SWOT, SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So maybe some tips for an effective SWOT analysis. First one is always be realistic about your strengths. So whether it's at financial institution level or at branch level, be realistic about your strengths. And can I suggest that you minimize staff-related strengths? So certainly put down one, and I'm sure you will have one dominant staff-related strength. But don't put a whole lot of them, say, we've really good, happy staff. We've smiley staff. We have committed staff. Just put down one, and that's fine. So look at what is the best strength around your staff, and put that down, and then look for other strengths that you might have. You should distinguish between where your financial institution is today and where it could be in the future, because your SWOT is point in time. Okay, so you're looking at, where is my branch today? Where is my financial institution today? You're not saying, well, in 6 months we could be better. You're looking at today. So distinguish between where your institution is today and where it could be in the future, because our SWOT is where we are now, today. So it could change if you do it in 3 months' time. It should always be specific. So avoid gray areas. So be specific, exactly what are you saying? And then when you're identifying weaknesses, that really is the most critical part of a SWOT analysis. And the more, the better. The more weaknesses you identify, either for your financial institution or your branch, the better it is, because that allows you room for improvement. And some people say, well, I don't want to put in lots of weaknesses because people will think I'm a bad manager, I'm a bad planner, where in fact the reverse is true. In my experience, the really good managers, the really good leaders, they have lots and lots and lots of weaknesses. So they identify them. And it's only by identifying them that you can do something about it. Someone who just says, well, we've only 1 or 2 weaknesses, they're not putting enough thought into their SWOT analysis. So your SWOT could be, for example, looking at your strengths. So, and this is just an example. It will differ from institution and from branch to branch. It could be our staff are friendly towards our customers. Maybe we are located in the heart of the town, so where all the business is. Maybe the layout of our branch is customer friendly. And it could be our customer satisfaction rating is above 80%. So that's just an example of some of the strengths that you could have. But bear in mind, it's specific to your location and to your financial institution. For weaknesses, just some examples could be our staff sales skills need to be improved. Our product knowledge needs to be improved. The attitude of some of our staff is bad. Maybe our time management needs to be improved. And maybe we are slow to embrace change. Now, this is the hardest box to complete, but it's the one that you will get the most benefit out of. So by identifying those weaknesses and putting them down on paper, you are saying, okay, here's a weakness. Now, what are we going to do about it? So that's the big challenge. What are you going to do about the weaknesses that you've identified? And then you look and say, okay, how can I take each weakness and work on that to reduce it or to hopefully turn it into a strength? And then if we look at maybe some opportunities, maybe if you're in a branch, maybe there's a new factory opening in our local area, which gives us an opportunity to get new deposits and more new accounts. Maybe the town is growing and new houses are being built. So population is growing. Maybe the mining industry is booming in your locality, or whatever industry it could be. And maybe there's new schools being built in the town. So there'll be more employment for teachers and more new student accounts and youth accounts to be obtained. And then look at maybe an example of threats. Maybe the universal banks are targeting our area. And if that is the case, try and be as specific as possible. Say which bank or which banks are targeting your area. It could be that maybe the telecoms companies are entering the market. They're entering the money transmission market. Maybe climate change is affecting farmers' crops in your area. And it could be that the economic conditions of our area are deteriorating, and maybe people are moving away and are moving into the city, big cities or whatever. So they are only an example. You will need to look at your own branch or your own bank and do them, and be as truthful as possible, and put a lot of deep thought into it. But out of your SWOT analysis, what you need to do is to do an action plan. And this is really, really important. So from your SWOT analysis, prioritize your results and identify which is your biggest strength, what are your most critical weaknesses, which is your biggest opportunity, and then what's the greatest threat. So prioritize each box that you do, from the biggest strength to the next biggest strength to the third one, etc. And do that with each of the boxes. So prioritize which is the biggest strength, which is our most critical weakness, which is our biggest opportunity, and which is our biggest threat. Because what you should do then is develop an action plan. And here's just a format of an action plan that I have used in many locations throughout down the years. So this format is really good. So I'd advise you to download it and to use it. So you look at, and it might be a bit complicated to look at on screen, but when you download the slides, it will make more sense, I hope. So you look at, say, your strength. What's your biggest strength? What's an opportunity? What action are you going to take? So you've identified, here's where we're really strong. Here's an opportunity that's in our area, or if you're doing it at bank level, here's an opportunity for the bank or the financial institution. What action are you going to take? And this is the real benefit of doing a good SWOT analysis. Because if you don't do it, then there's no point in doing it. It's just a document that's going to be put into a drawer. So just look at this again. You identify a strength that you have, and you identify an opportunity in your branch. So you say, what actions am I going to take with that strength to gain that opportunity? And then likewise, you look at that strength that you have, and there's a threat coming down. So let's say one of the universal banks are really targeting your area, and you have a big strength, which is you are embedded in the local community. What action are you going to take to fend off the threat of the big universal bank coming into your area? Because you are embedded in the locality, so you have lots of good local knowledge. You know the lots of the people and the influences in the area. So what action are you going to take? So you identify your action. And then if you look at the weakness, so you have a big weakness, but there's a big opportunity. What are you going to do to try and minimize that weakness so you can grab that opportunity? And then finally, the last box, you have a weakness, but there's a big threat coming down. What are you going to do? What action are you going to do to try to minimize that weakness? So what I'd advise you is to have a go at it, and maybe in each box, put 2 or 3 actions. That's all you need to do. 2 or 3 actions, and that will help you to develop an action plan that you will put into your marketing plan. So the fourth task is to develop our marketing objectives. So with the information and with the analysis that you have gathered, what you want to achieve, So you've done your analysis, you've done your research, you've said, here's the target market I want to go after. Here's the analysis from my SWOT analysis. So what do you want to achieve? For example, over the next 12 months, maybe you want to increase the number of your micro or SME customers by 10% in number. So let's say that's 150 new customers. And can I also recommend that anytime you put a percentage figure, you also put an actual number so that you know exactly the number you're looking after. Because if I was just to say, I want to grow my micro and SME customers by 10%, is that 10% of 500 or is it 10% of 5,000? So always put a number. So in this case, I want to grow by 10%. So I want to grow by 150 new customers. So I'm absolutely clear in what I want to achieve. Or let's say I want to grow the female customers, their deposit base by 10% in value. And again, that is so many million CDs in new deposits. So I say 10% in value, and that equals so many millions in new deposits. Or maybe increased new account for account acquisition for farmers by 15%. And that equals 250 accounts. So they're the things they're your marketing objectives. What do you want to achieve? And obviously, if you're in a branch, they are aligned with what head office is saying. Okay. And if you're in a head office unit, you're looking at, well, what's the senior management team want? What's the board of directors looking for over the next year? So the fifth task then is to develop your sales and marketing strategies. And some people get worried when we talk about strategies, but they're really just, what are the things you're going to do to try and achieve your objectives? So identify what you intend to do to achieve your marketing objectives, e.g. increase the number of micro and SME customers by 10% in number. So what am I going to do to try and get this 150 new customers? So, and here's just an example of 3 such strategies, but you need to write them down. And that's why we're saying it's important to do a plan. You write it down. So here's 3 possible strategies. So identify a list of 30 micro or SME prospects each month. And then communicate to prospects by means of email, phone calls, or personal contact, and target to get 10 new accounts each month. So that's a clear marketing strategy that I have. And I outlined that, and that's part of my plan. Another strategy is maybe undertake a one roadshow per month to communicate the benefits of doing business with you. And I'm going to try and target 5 new accounts per month from the roadshow that I do in my local area. And then another possible strategy is look for referrals from 10 existing customers each month. And my target is to get 2 new accounts per month. So there are 3 strategies that are linked in to my marketing objective of increasing my micro and SME customers by 10% over the year. So it's important so you have to put in the thought process, what am I going to do to achieve my marketing objectives? So here's how it could look like when you put it into a table. So your objective 1, identify 30 prospects per month. It's always really important to say who is responsible. So Terry is responsible for that. And his start date, the first of each month he starts, and the deliverables are 10 new accounts per month. The second one is undertake 1 roadshow per month, and Edmund is responsible for doing that. And he's going to start at the 2nd week of each month. And his target is 5 new accounts per month. And the third one then is to ask 10 existing customers for referrals per month. And Jane is responsible for that. She's going to do that the 3rd week of each month. And her target is 2 new accounts per month. And remember to monitor, review, and adjust your action plan continually as appropriate. So you have a clear plan and you say who's responsible, what's the start date, and what are the deliverables, and you monitor, you review, and you adjust your action plan as appropriate. You also need to do, when you're looking at your marketing strategies, is to identify and document your competitive advantage. So what is your competitive advantage? So maybe it might be that you have an ATM in your branch. So you decide what your competitive advantage is. Okay. Then outline why should people do business with you over a competing financial institution, and create a compelling sales proposition. So why should someone do business with you? And in 2 or 3 or 4 sentences, say, why should someone do business with you? So write that down in your marketing plan. So look at your competitive advantage, outline why people should do business with you over a competing financial institution, let's say one of the universal banks, and then create that 3 or 4 sentences as to your compelling sales proposition. And then identify the selling skills or sales techniques to be used, e.g. referrals, cross-selling, networking, etc. And then coming towards our end now, you've identified who you're going after, and you've done your research, both internal and external. You've done your SWOT analysis. You've developed your marketing objectives. You've developed your marketing strategies. You've identified your deliverables. Now what you have to do is, the final task is to develop a marketing budget. So how much is it going to cost for you to carry out your tasks? So identify the costs associated with each action outlined in your list of marketing strategies. So identify what that cost is, so you can then look at the cost for each item, total them all up, and you say, well, this is your total marketing budget. And then you need to do a cost-benefit analysis. And this is my second last slide here now. Do a cost-benefit analysis. So cost-benefit analysis is used to compare what you expect to pay for each initiative against what benefits or opportunities will provide. So it's a process to determine if the action is viable or not from a cost perspective. It does this by placing a value in the amount, so in CDs, against the cost and the benefit. So here's what's going to cost, and here's the benefit. And when you subtract the benefits from the cost, you get the idea of the profits, both financially and in terms of business objectives and goals. And when your estimated benefits are greater than the costs, then it's more than likely that you should proceed with your initiative. So it really is important that you put your marketing budget together. So say how much it's going to cost you, and then to do your cost benefit analysis to see, is it worth my while doing that? And if the benefits or the revenues that come in outweigh the costs, then it's more than likely that you should proceed with your activity. If they don't, on the other hand, then you need to have another look at it and say, well, it's going to cost me this. The benefits or returns I'm going to get are significantly lower than are lower than the costs. So you need to think about whether you should proceed or not. So my last slide, in summary, typically, and this I would advise you when you download the slides, this can form the basis of your marketing plan, your marketing and sales plan. Typically, the contents of a sales and marketing plan would include the following. So you have your executive summary up front, and your executive summary is always the last thing you do when you have everything else of the plan done. So you say it's the last thing done, you write it and you rewrite it and you rewrite it. So what are the key things that you want to achieve? And this is done at head office level, but it's also done at branch level. So you have your executive summary, you have your external research, you have your internal research, you have your SWOT analysis, and your development and your analysis. You write down your assumptions. So what are the assumptions that you have made in doing your research? You outline then your marketing objectives, so what you want to achieve. You outline your sales and marketing strategies, so how you're going to achieve those objectives. And then finally, you put together your marketing budget and you do your cost benefit analysis. So with that, that's the end of the formal presentation. So I'm going to hand back now to Nathaniel. And Nathaniel, you can maybe take it from here if you have any received any questions from anybody, and see can we help them with any questions that they have.
Okay, Terry, thank you for the presentation on developing and the MSME. It's been a great journey all the while, 4 series on marketing and sales webinar. Today happened to be the last. We started with the objective of knowing the target market for our business, embarking on market research, having a good SWOT analysis, that we should be honest with ourselves. We also embark on marketing objectives, sales and marketing strategies, and then we wrapped up with marketing budgets or cost benefit analysis. That has been a great presentation. Please, if you have any question, you can go to the chat box and then ask your questions so that Terry can address them for us. But in a few moments, Terry, I have these questions for you. Terry, can you please explain what you mean by creating a sales proposition?
Yeah, it's a good question, Nathaniel. I suppose a compelling sales proposition, what it does is it answers the question, why should a customer do business with you? Because when you are out trying to get business from new prospects or even more business from existing customers, you're trying to persuade or influence them to give you more business. So a compelling proposition comprises maybe 3 or 4 points or sentences that sets out to convince the customer. So you should set out what your bank or your branch does better than the competitors in your area, and outline your competitive advantage. And also remember to outline what personally you can offer to your customer or prospect that other banks or financial institutions cannot. And it could go something like this. You should open an account with us today because we are a financially strong institution. We've been in existence for over 20, 30 years, whatever it might be. We are embedded in the community, so we understand your needs as a customer. We're here to help you, and we have products especially suited to your needs because we understand you. And finally, you could say, and I will personally look after you, and I will be available to help you with any financial needs or issues or questions that you might have. So it's really just a few sentences, Nathaniel, that every person, when they're trying to attract a customer or prospect, has, so that it outlines why the customer should do business with them and tries to influence the customer to come to your institution instead of someone else.
Okay. Thank you so much for the explanation on creating a sales proposition. Please, attendees, we are encouraged to submit your questions in the chat box if you haven't yet. Terry, another question just came through. It says, I have no marketing skills. How am I expected to write a sales and marketing plan? If I have no marketing skills, I don't have any marketing background, how do I now write a sales and marketing plan? Can you lead us through that?
Yeah, that's a common question, Nathaniel, that everyone will, or lots of people will say, I'm not in marketing, I cannot do that. But remember, the most difficult part of a marketing plan is getting started. The hardest thing is
Okay.
the blank page. So I advise you to download this presentation and use it as a guide with your plan. And the objective, it's not to have a world-class plan, but to make a start in understanding your market and then deciding what you need to do to achieve your objectives. So just make a start and put something down. Once something is down, you can then always amend it or change it or whatever. But the hardest thing is the blank page. But use this presentation as a guide to help you. And if you do, it will certainly help you in putting together a plan.
Okay. Thank you so much. With that being said, the presentation and the recording, a link to the recording will be sent to you right after this webinar in a few days, so you can be expecting it. It will be sent to you. Thank you. Terry, another question for you. Surely a sales and marketing plan needs to be undertaken at head office and not at branch level. What can we do, we that at the branch level, since these strategies need to be at the head office? What can we at the branch level also do? Can you tell us something?
Yeah, well, in my experience in sales and marketing for many years, throughout many countries, a sales and marketing plan should be completed both at head office, but also at branch level, because it really is important that branches develop their own plans. Now, obviously, the branch plan must align with the overall bank plan. But it gives a plan at branch level. It gives structure to the activities that need to be done to achieve their branch goals. And it also forces staff at branch level to put significant thought process into what needs to be done, and to commit those thoughts to paper. So just try to get something down on paper. And then the plan can then act as a guide of actions that need to be undertaken by the branch. So my strong recommendation is have a plan at branch level as well. As I said, what we're not looking for is world-class plans, but we're looking for a start so that branches will start to consider their local environment, do some research, and look at the marketing strategies that they can put into place to achieve their goals.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please, I still entreat you if you have any question. It looks like you're not having any questions. So if you have any question, you can put it on the chat box for the facilitator to address it. One last question for you, Terry. I don't understand the SWOT action plan process. You spoke of SWOT analysis, having a good SWOT analysis, but you also gave us a process. Can you explain that one again for us?
Yeah, sure. So the idea of the SWOT action plan, remember the SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. The SWOT action plan is designed to make something happen as a result of doing your own SWOT at branch or at head office level. There really is no point in doing a SWOT analysis if there's no action taken as a result.
Okay.
So the SWOT action plan results in activities being identified. So, for example, if you have a really good strength at branch level or bank level, and there's a really good opportunity that you've identified, how can you use that strength to try and grab that opportunity that you have? Or likewise, if you're particularly weak in a certain area and there's a big threat coming down the line at your branch, what action are you going to take to minimize the threat? So it's designed to put actions behind the SWOT analysis that you do.
Okay, thank you so much. That'll be all the questions for us. So we had 4 webinars on sales and marketing We had becoming a sales champion, handling customer complaints, the role of customer service in microfinance institutions. And today we are wrapping up with developing an MSME focused marketing and sales plan to improve sales performance. It has been an awesome journey with you, Terry, for your awesome presentations. The comments keep coming as to how beneficial this webinar has been and how they are putting it in place. I want to appreciate you so much. Again, also, I want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. I've seen that people are asking if they can get the slides and the presentation. Yes, we will be sending out the presentation and a link to the webinar recording within a few days. So that is end for now. Terry, can you please advance to the last slide so that we can know the upcoming programs?
Yes, I can.
Okay, a question just came in, Terry, for you.
Yes.
It says, what do we do as staff to attract our customers to refer us to others, and as well as referral is concerned? What do we do as staff to attract our customers to refer us to others?
Oh, okay. I'd say the first thing, Nathaniel, is to ask your customers. So ask your customers to refer you. Many people, many staff, bankers think that they just leave it to their customers to refer, but it's actually the other way. You have to, as a banker or working in a financial institution, first of all, you have to give good service to your existing customer. So assuming you do give good service to your existing customer, ask a customer, say, do you know anyone else, either in your family or in the same business, that you think that I could help? And would you mind phoning them or contacting them? And then I will talk to them once once you tell me that you've contacted them. So the key thing here, Nathaniel, is you have to give a good service, but after that, ask customers. So have a target of maybe one customer per day of my existing customers. I'm going to ask for a referral and say, will you please refer me to someone else? So that's the first place. And then make sure that you get that name and the contact details from your existing customer and follow it up fairly promptly once they have spoken to their contact.
Thank you so much. So with that, you have to first deliver good service, then ask the customer to refer, then you follow up the service. You follow up on whoever was referred. Thank you so much on the question. So in view of that, this is our last slide. We are having regulatory financial reporting workshop for savings and loans company on the 27th and 28th October 2022 in Kumasi. And then 8th and 9th November, we have planning and budgeting for microcredit in Accra. And then on 15th November, we have performance management, that is incentive for lenders. It's a webinar, so the link will be sent out to you. Then you can register so that it's on your slides, it's on your calendar, then you don't miss it. And also, we thank you so much for doing this webinar today. With that, we end the webinar on sales and marketing. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.